So once we get going, we're usually okay. But we don't really know what we're chatting about, so I might make it slightly challenging. Hello, happy 2023. It's January. Made it this far. Welcome to the Cairngorm podcast. Technically a season 2. And to kick things off, we're in the roastery. If you can see, our breath is slightly cold if you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, but yeah, it's freezing in here. But we are excited to be kicking things off and to just be having a chat and I guess trying to flesh out what this season or this series of podcasts is going to be about as we go. Here with Harris.
Hello.
Co-host, co-owner,
co-everything.
Co-educational, if that makes any sense. And yeah, we're just going to talk today, I think, about 2022 and what we've achieved, what we haven't achieved, what we could have done better, crucially. And I guess we're just keen to have some self-awareness and try and hash out between us whether it was a good year or a meh year. Would that be fair?
Well, it's very fair. Meh sounds bad, but obviously, yeah, 2022 was a big year coming out of COVID, so it probably feels like the first year in a while where we've maybe been actually able to have a go to like do stuff that might impact on the business. So yeah, a good year to reflect on, but obviously I think now that with that behind us, going into 2023, we're like, let's actually go. Let's get going.
For sure.
And a big part of that is this podcast. So obviously doing it, we hope, weekly.
It's going to be weekly. Every Wednesday, tune in. I think this is always the challenge with these kind of things. You start off with grand expectations and then a toilet seat breaks in the cafe and you have to go and fix that instead of filming a podcast, which could be seen as extracurricular. But in any case is, I think, hopefully an important brand building tool for sure. Any small business to be doing stuff like this. So,
because we want to do quite a lot with this. We would want to obviously have guests on. We want to be discussing different topics, not necessarily just coffee, but business-related stuff, maybe life-related stuff as well.
For sure. Introspective. I think it's important to say also that we have had some questions already directed to our Instagram post. So we'll look forward in future episodes to get through some of them. And if you do have any questions, then hit us up, DM us, respond to that post, and let's see if we can make your dreams of an answer from the dream duo come true. Am I right?
Completely correct.
Probably wrong.
Probably wrong.
So let's get into it. I think 2022, as you said, it was a bit of a kind of trying to just get through it year. We have grander expectations for 2023, but let's reflect on 2022. I'm trying to think how it all started. We kind of kicked off with a kind of bit of a delay on getting our boxes. Yeah. And I think it was probably February before we managed to kind of really launch them, was it?
It was. Obviously, the goal was to try and get those boxes pre-Christmas. That's another great insight into running a business there. So the goal was to launch those boxes in time for Christmas 2021. We didn't get it all together until February 2022, released the Steve Jobs video.
Which, to be fair, kind of spurred on the rest of our funny content that year, I think.
You think that was funny, was it?
I'm just reading the reviews, mate.
So obviously we did that video, which that feels like an age ago now, and an age ago that those boxes were released, but we're super pumped about the boxes. They've done so well. We think it's really, elevated the brand from that point of view as well.
Would you say that was the kind of most pivotal kind of turning point we did last year? Was that the kind of biggest thing which had an impact, or?
I think from a retail point of view, it definitely helped. So that's kind of like online sales and in the shop sales as well of coffee. The boxes obviously look great, especially when they're stacked on the shelves. So I do think that had an impact. I think all these things always tie together. So obviously more marketing went alongside launching the boxes, which helped as well. We obviously started doing the curated subscription around the same time, which kind of came with a coffee of the month. So obviously that helped too. And then after that, obviously, we hired Matt our wholesale manager, and obviously he started getting retail boxes into other shops across the UK. So I think lots of things added together probably contributed to us selling way more retail coffee than I think we expected to last year.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it also, I guess, spurred on a lot of wholesale accounts. And, you know, I'm trying to think about how powerful Instagram was for us last year in terms of, you know, the boxes. It was a calculated risk, shall we say, you know, to spend a lot of money to get boxes made. But the hope and the expectation and probably the result was that it transferred to a lot of Instagram action with people taking photos of the boxes when they received them, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, Instagram was our kind of best tool last year in a sense that, yes, we did a lot of work ourselves on it, but our customers kind of carried the gauntlet a wee bit as well and kind of brought a lot of content our way, which is great. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Instagram is a funny one. We obviously talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
We did also kind of start pushing into other streams, YouTube, TikTok. We'll maybe talk about TikTok shortly, but
yeah.
YouTube is the platform which hopefully some of you are watching this on now. It's a tough platform to get traction on, I feel.
100%. It's like, you know, anyone who is still watching now, we're probably 4 minutes in, well done. I'm like, holding someone's attention for that long is difficult. TikTok obviously is much more built around shorter clips. YouTube is built around, obviously someone is coming to watch you for, you know, maybe 10, 20 minutes, maybe even longer. So yeah, definitely difficult to hold an audience for that long. But I think that all comes round to a wider point of us, and we chatted about this on one of last year's podcasts kind of things, was about marketing and our view very firmly that we need to do more marketing, and a huge part of marketing nowadays is video content versus still images or even newsletters, other things. So we enjoy doing videos, and I think that's a large reason why we're trying to double down on that.
There were several times, I think, last year when we almost went back-to-back videos and didn't, you know, there was probably periods where there was no still images at all on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun journey just to explore. Like, obviously some videos completely flop, and you put, more often than not, the ones that you put a lot of effort into don't actually do that well.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, talking about TikTok, we obviously have had some help. We're having some help just now as we film this from a good friend Jack, who's been helping us with some e-commerce. He's kind of been handed the keys to TikTok as well. Yeah. And we had our first glimpse into actually getting some traction there, which I would say it was probably one of the lowest effort videos. Well, he might say something different, but you know, it was one of those ones that like, I'll just chuck some clothes on and let's just jump on a trend.
Yeah.
And it has kind of given me a real insight into how important it is to jump on trends and to be reactionary. Because whilst we're talking, you know, 24.9 thousand, not, you know, or thereabouts, that was meant to be a joke, a specific it's, for us, that was, you know, substantially more than we'd had before. And there are obviously other people getting onto that trend and getting millions of hits, but that is probably one of the things we will continue into 2023, I would imagine, is to try and keep that hunt for the viral video ongoing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably something we'd obviously love to discuss on a podcast later on, would be, you know, how important is video marketing? How much does that translate into actual physical sales? You know, all that kind of stuff. I think so much effort and emphasis is put onto it now. But, you know, I always love talking to you about, is the actual return you get from it as much as the effort you put in? So yeah. I think that's a really interesting topic to talk to fellow business owners about.
Definitely. And I guess the biggest case for that would be, we did a Christmas advert. And I think we'll maybe talk about that in a future episode, because I think it deserves a little bit more time to flesh it out.
Explanation.
But, like, what the heck are you guys doing? But that was a big kind of investment.
It sure was.
Time and money and personnel and all sorts of stuff. But I think it's all about, you know, trying to really think things through and having a real purpose for doing them. That was kind of the biggest example of that, where we're like, well, we want to sell more coffee at Christmas. Can this help? Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Let's go back to
2022.
2022. So where do you think well, I guess, first of all, how do you think we did? You were talking before, should we mark it out of
10.
Out of 12.
Out of 12, okay. If out of 12,
Doesn't have to be out of 12.
Which I would give it an 8, which out of 10 would translate to 7.5. Out of 10.
Would it, though? Yeah. It would be 6.6.
Would it? If we do some quick maths, I think it's a quarter.
They're counting, right?
3/4.
8 out of 12.
Oh yeah, 9 out of 12. Whoopsies. Let's cut.
So you're going for a 9?
I
was like chuffed with that quick maths.
No, I would say, that's very good from you. I would say a 7 or 8. We did a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Like, so much happened in 2022.
Yeah.
Not all
Which
of it.
leaves a lot of room for improvement.
Oh,
I
definitely.
think that's probably for the best. I've got this strong belief that you should never rest on your laurels. You should never think that you have achieved everything, or you should never, like in business, you should always be trying to push on. I think that's probably the one important thing which Cairngorm has had, which has helped us get traction with the business. We were never really happy, or I've said this before, it sounds like really demoralizing, but we always wanted to be better than we were the day before. We always were looking for routes to try and succeed harder, or to try and make more out of the business. And I think that's probably part of the reason we're quite humble / modest and defeatist is probably a better way of putting it. Yeah. But we want success hard, I think.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of room for improvement there, on a 6 or 7 out of 10, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
I would agree, though. I think there were parts of the year we did super well. There was also other parts where we were like, we could have done better here. A perfect example is the Christmas rush.
Yeah.
We didn't really react to getting better couriers put in place with all of the stuff going on, which resulted in us, not being able to sell as much coffee beyond, into the second week of December, which, there's lots of reasons for that, but you have to think about the ones you can control, and that is that we could have done better, I would say.
Yeah.
Acted quicker.
A tough one. I think we did a lot around the same sort of time as well, so obviously Bonnie and Wild opened at the end of July. We then decided to reopen Frederick Street at the end of September. Matt and also Kate, our roastery manager, they came on board in the middle of the year as well. So I think in the middle of the year we had so much going on, and it's difficult to juggle all of those plates. So I think obviously in this year we want to be a bit more structured in terms of tackling stuff in a staggered way, rather than trying to absolutely do everything all at once.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's another potential flaw was the Frederick Street one. It was like we just missed the fringe by a month.
Yeah.
There's all these like little margins where we're close to getting it, but not quite.
Yeah, but a huge part of all that as well is staffing related as well. I think,
for sure.
Again, another topic probably for further down the line with another business owner is to talk around the difficulties in hospitality with staffing right now. It's obviously very, very hard to get staff. It's then quite difficult to keep staff. Especially if they're non-UK residents now as well. Their visas might be shorter than they once previously were. So, yeah, it's a tough time if you are, trying to hire people in the hospitality industry. So, I think that's definitely been a big contributing factor to, part of our struggles last year as well. So,
yeah, for sure. Quite a negative podcast so far.
Oh, it's not that now. Honestly, my hand is
so cold.
Hands about to drop off.
Let's quickly then just have a quick chat about 2023, because I think obviously the reason we like to reflect and potentially discuss where we kind of didn't quite hit the ground running on some aspects of running the business in 2022. We're obviously trying to think with an eye towards what is the future and where can we cash in on these things in the next year. And I think obviously we're in the next year, but is there anything you think that is low hanging fruit? Is that what they say? That we should be smashing, or
I think since we've got Matt and Kate in, the roastery and wholesale in general has been on an upward trajectory. I think we're both admit we're starting from quite a small base, but I think there's so much room for growth in Cairngorm wholesale. I think we're both so keen to work collaboratively with other cafes. We're not massively into a hellishly hard sell. Yeah. We would much rather build really decent relationships with cafes and sell them our coffee, and be keen to discuss coffees with them and cuppings and all that kind of stuff. We really want to get engaged with our wholesale customers. So I think wholesale for us is going to be huge in 2023.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think something we talk about quite a lot is the notion of adding value, which is kind of goes against what you're saying, which is, if we're working with X, Y, or Z cafe, like how do we add value to them, and how do we find ways that a smaller business like ourselves can facilitate, having a little bit more time to be able to help or increase the value to them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an ongoing journey, I suppose. But we're getting, as we get better with the whole wholesale environment, because, it is something we've not done a huge amount of, I think we're getting better at piecing that jigsaw together and finding ways of doing that. For me, that would be something I'm quite excited about for 2023. I think it is definitely, like you say, something we can improve on. I think it's something that will bring us a lot of satisfaction if we can help make other local businesses thrive, coming out of a period of pretty hard turmoil. The last few years have not been easy.
Yeah, 100%.
But we want to bring some positivity, I guess.
100%. I think good time for a crisp break.
This crisp break is sponsored by Crispy Creed, who is one of our members of staff. Ross Creed, who, if he ever listens to this, will be very confused.
It will be. Co-op, irresistible range.
What would you say out of 10? They are incredible.
Sea salt and Chardonnay. Absolutely banging crisps.
So easy to eat a whole pack, though.
Very easy to eat a whole pack. Crispy Creed. I don't know if he's even reviewed these yet, but if he hasn't, then he needs to. But
I meant to give him some for Christmas, and I completely forgot.
What would we get?
Let's get him on the pod.
We should get him on the pod to talk about crisps. I would give them 8 Creeds out of 10.
I'm going 9.5 Creeds out of 10, or even 10.75 out of 12.
Right, okay.
Or thereabouts.
Not as good as the Black Truffle Toro's crisps, but we can obviously chat about that on the crisps-related podcast.
Nobody's ever rated a truffle crisp higher than 10.75 out of 12.
Oh, they're incredible as well.
No one's ever rated a crisp out of 12, probably. More to the point.
No, probably not. So back to 2023. Another thing I'm super pumped for is making the cafes great again. Really didn't want to use that terminology, but
Big Don.
Getting the cafes absolutely banging again. I think COVID was a sledgehammer to cafes and the hospitality industry. It's taking a while to get back to pre-COVID expectations and levels, and I can't wait for us to do that during 2023. You obviously always have this lingering, cloud of COVID in the background. I literally don't know if tomorrow everyone in the business might get COVID again, and so. But either way,
do the COVID tests work like legitimately still, or has the strain changed? Because I'm sure I had COVID at one point, and I've tested myself religiously, and I haven't got it, or I didn't have it, but then my dad got it off of someone, and I'm like, We
can address that question to Sir Chris Whitty, I think.
Yeah.
Sir Chris now. Great.
Is it?
Yeah, he's a sir. I think was he made a sir?
Fair play to him.
Yeah, he was. I think making the cafes incredible I can't wait to do that in 2023. I think
for sure
we have known, and this is a segue onto some of the funniest bits of 2022. Not funny, but like
the blooper reel.
Some of the blooper reels would be, some of the reviews we get from customers that use the cafes, and obviously all our staff, everyone involved with Cairngorm is trying their best, we would hope, and you do have off days, but we're all trying our best almost all of the time. I and some of the reviews we can get are absolutely savage. But yeah, so part of that is building, just trying to get back to
that. There's definitely we need to stop saying this. Oh, we could do a podcast about that, but hospitality is extraordinarily hard, and getting through the times we've had to adapt into a new normal of hospitality has been extraordinarily hard. Coupling with that, obviously, financial constraints of having to go through that period. Things are better, but there maybe is sometimes a disconnect with the customer expectation of that business should be sparkling and everything should be brand new. And you're like, you don't always have money to be able to spend on shop improvements and all these kind of things. But
toilets.
Let's just say it.
Yeah. The T word.
But yeah, there's definitely a conversation to be had around that, and how reviews potentially could ruin my life. They could tip me over the edge with anxiety, I'm sure, to the point that I can't bring myself to look at TripAdvisor.
Yeah, which is funny. So reviews don't bother me so much because I'm like, it's just someone's opinion on a snapshot of time. Whereas I think, obviously, you having founded Cairngorm 8 years ago, when someone's like, Cairngorm's crap, you're like, oh, it's not crap. This is my life. It feels
like someone's literally, punching my face and telling me I'm ugly.
Which happens quite a lot, to be fair. I wanted to say on that as well, the cafes, we've invested in the cafes. So we have hired Anna as the cafe manager at Melville. We've added Lauren as a food manager at Melville as well. At Bonnie and Wild, we've been building the team at Bonnie and Wild, but I think 2023 we really want to improve Bonnie and Wild massively and trying to get it closer to the Cairngorm experience maybe you'd get elsewhere, but also recognizing the nuances of being in a food marketplace, basically. And then Frederick Street is going great. Like, we've been so happy with the way Frederick Street has reopened, and then, the pour over stuff and specialty, single origin menu from like multi-roasters has been going really, really well. So
Frederick Street is a good example of like needing to take stock and realizing, it's talking about looking back on 2022. We were talking last week about how it's been a bit slower at Frederick Street, given the time of year. It's January, it's freezing. Yeah. It's literally -2 outside in Edinburgh.
-4 inside.
Feels like -12 here. Yeah. 12 out of 12. Frederick Street, we had a quiet week, but then we were like, oh, actually, this is still a better day than we had when we opened. And we're like, you kind of have to look back to look forward sometimes and realize where you've come from. And yeah, I think that's hopefully at the end of this year we'll look back on Melville and like Toiletgate and these kind of things and be like, yeah, we've come a long way. We've got brand new toilets, or we've got this or that. And that's the goal. Yeah, we want to obviously be reflecting and improving ourselves, on the reg, I would say.
Completely. Brand new toilets ready for the Lothian bus drivers.
We'll start with toilet seats.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think, again, doing a podcast and things like that can often be construed as being a bit I don't know what the word is.
Deprecating?
No, the other one. Pumping ourselves up. When in reality, I think a lot of what we're chatting about here is led by Cairngorm staff. Like, we are obviously at the top trying to manage the staff and get things done. But a lot of the work that went on in 2022 is obviously delivered heavily by the staff we've got in. And I think Frederick Street, again, would be a massive shout out to Hannah, who we hired in September time. She was coming across from the US, and like, she absolutely knocked Frederick Street out of the park. So, it wouldn't probably have worked as well as it has done without Hannah, I would say. And, examples like that all across the business, I think.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's been transformative, I'd say. And I think it's just about, and we're extremely lucky as a business in general across the board. We're, finding people that care as passionately as you. It's very, very challenging.
100%.
But we're fortunately in a period now where you can tick off, the majority of our team who, probably do, struggle to sleep at night sometimes thinking about this and that in the business. And whilst that's not their responsibility, or we don't want them to be fretting with these things, it shows a real commitment to, wanting to be part of something which we're building, and I think
100%.
and that's a collective we. I think we do have the opinion that we are just two on a microphone talking, but the reason we're doing that is to build the framework of the business to grow the appeal, and we know that we can do that because we have a great foundation with our team. So it's
overlay Kate Nash foundations at the top of that. Other massive thing to happen in 2023, which I hate the word manifesting, if we just say it enough times will actually happen, is we're going to move into a new roastery, which might actually have heating.
Oh,
that would be so
good as well.
We do actually have some heating, like right behind me, but it's gas.
You might see it
So
on that.
We can't put it on anymore. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
You might as well just set fire to £10 notes in the middle of the floor to keep us warm.
I've literally had to open my jumper to look more trendy as well, and why did I do that? Do I look more trendy?
You look like Where's Wally?
He's quite trendy.
He is quite trendy. Yeah. Or the cat.
Best-selling author, I'd say.
Yeah.
Very fresh.
Oh.
Oh, French. I thought you said fresh.
Fresh. Oh. Is Jack trying to plug his own website?
Yeah. Fresh.org.uk.
I'm wearing some fresh merch, to be fair, which was made by Jack.
I mean, Jack is, we alluded to our TikTok expert / e-commerce minister.
Global head of e-commerce and marketing TikToks.
Who has his own business as well called Fresh. Yeah. That is the reference point of that whole segue.
It's kind of aimed at people younger than us, though. So
that looks good, mate.
He calls us boomers all the time.
I've never been called a boomer before but now, do you know, you talk about manifesting, and now that it's started, I'm starting to consider myself old. Yeah. And it's really unpleasant. It's highly unpleasant.
To help us out in the comments, just say who looks older, me or Robbie. Right one.
Thank God we got that Stussy. Stussy, yeah. Stussy,
if I had TikTok, I would have got a lot more followers off the back of that. Anything else happening in 2023? I think we've jumped around a lot there, but to summarise, obviously, want to grow wholesale, want to make the cafes absolutely, banging again, and want to move into a new roastery. Have you got anything else you'd like to throw into the mixeroo there?
Yeah.
Any more children, maybe?
One every year, one every year since we started. No. I did have a kid in July last year, 2020. I should reflect on that.
Which was also
I've had a busy year.
During the middle of everything as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Literally a week before Bonning Wild opened, I think.
Yeah.
And some people went on holiday for 2 weeks at the same time. So that was class.
How good's Aaron?
I think, again, it's another longer form conversation, but I have this one driving ambition for Cairngorm, which is tangible products. Like from when we started in 2014, we started selling T-shirts, and I was really obsessed with this notion of tangible products. I still am. Yeah. I think we've released some cool merchandising in 2022. I think we want to go harder in 2023. Yeah. And I think that's something that really inspires me and excites me. And I know it does Jack too. I know it does you too. I sound wrong, grammatically incorrect. Yeah. But I think alongside that, this whole dream of like ready to drink, I talk about it quite a lot.
R2D.
I want to have something that someone can, and again, this is heavily manifesting, but someone can have the Cairngorm experience that we envisage, which we design, just by opening a bottle, just by cracking a can, just by doing whatever it is. But I think like a lot of my childhood was, my dad worked in food manufacture, drinks, the alcohol industry, and whiskey, for an example, is a good one, where you open a bottle of whiskey and you can kind of mirror the same experience that the master distiller, whatever, can kind of forecast it for you. And I think with coffee, it's extremely different when it's whole bean or it's ground coffee, whatever, if you're making it. Well, because there's so many different methods to make it, there's so many different recipes, so many different variables, the temperature of the water, the time after it's been roasted, when it was ground, how much coffee you use, if you time it, if you don't time it, if you weigh it, if you don't weigh it. I mean, it's an endless pursuit of making the perfect coffee for us. Not that we're the masters, as it were, but we heavily go down the route of measuring every variable, and it's then sold and it's passed on to someone else to do what they want with it, which is great. And I think it's important for us to then think about how we handle the roastery in terms of solubility, all these things to try and make sure the interpretation that they're getting is close enough to ours. But I think the dream of being able to know that someone is drinking it exactly how I am is really exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm like, it is a weird concept. Obviously, you think of a bottle of wine, they should all taste roughly the same. Each bottle of wine you have should taste roughly the same.
Funnily enough, they probably the people who own vineyards.
Probably say.
They probably say, "Oh, actually, it depends how warm it is." So it's a rabbit hole. I'm aware of that.
I do get that, but obviously the number of variables, we could all make 3 different coffees and they would all taste different, but roughly the same. I think is the important thing as well. It would be roughly the same, but
I don't know if producer Jack's ever made a coffee before.
He's not.
He's been made to drink one. But it's done latte art. Oh yeah, fair.
Loves the kombucha, which don't we all? But he loves them more than I do.
Shout out Isabel.
Thanks,
a lot of shout outs in this pod.
There is. Well done, Isabel. Recognise Jack.
Did she?
Yeah.
That's
good. That's delightful.
We need to shout out at least 3 members of staff per pod. We've got Crispy Creed, Ross Creed,
Robbie,
Isabel, Robbie and Harris.
Jack always gets shout outs. Jack, the guy behind the camera, always gets shouted out, don't they?
Got a good positive review from my man Cameron today.
Really good.
At B&W, Bonnie and Wild.
Maybe we should do that. That should be part of every weekly pod. We read out 1 or 2 positive reviews that we get.
I can give it to you right now if you want.
Unless they'll encourage people to leave more positive reviews, maybe.
Oh,
not that we don't get left.
Shout out.
We get a lot of positive reviews, but I think...
Oh, all right, don't get fully. Get a bit fully yourself.
What we're saying is obviously the negative ones really do stick, like when you get them.
They also stink.
What, our toilet?
No, it stinks to get bad reviews. Where is this comment? Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, this one for Cam was absolutely great. Read it out.
Shout out Cameron. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say it. Is this GDPR? Shout out. No, it was a DM.
It was a DM. So yeah, let's cut that.
Producer Jack will cut that. Yeah. Hi. Just wanted to pass on my compliments to Cameron at the Bonnie and Wild location. Great team there and cracking hospitality. I mean, it does make it all worthwhile.
So genuinely, we read that review and it makes our day. So
yeah,
I think it's important, I guess, people sitting behind their keyboards. We don't leave reviews. It takes a lot of time and effort to leave reviews. I get that. But you need to understand, obviously, that they have the ability to make someone's day or break someone's day. Not my day. My day will be great. Robbie's day will be broken. Yeah.
No, seriously, it is pretty crippling.
Can we talk about our top, like the best one,
our top review,
which we're trademarking and it's coming out as merch? That our top worst review from last year was on Google. Staff are naff. I'm like, our staff are not naff. So it's so hard to, like, they can, yeah.
Own up if you left that. Come on, it's just not funny. It's not cool. It's not clever.
But
it's certainly not nice.
It's given us some great marketing collateral going forward, and we're going to build a brand out of it. So
you are naff.
Yeah. Our staff aren't naff.
Staff are fab. Sounded cooler in my head. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. Where are we at?
Where are we at, Jack? What's our timing situation? Oh God, that's way too long.
No one's going to listen to this.
Well done, the one person who's made it this far.
We can wrap it up quite heavily.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
But I think we're just, most of it has been talking about future podcasts, which is great. Again, let us know if you do have ideas. Is there any kind of firm, tight, let's hold each other accountable for a goal in 2023? I'm thinking, like, what is there that is actually like a KPI which we can share? Opening a roastery. A new roastery.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I think for both of us, and we chat about it, is just being more organized in general so that we can, I guess, do more for the team. I think quite often, like you, Robbie in particular, you get stuff slung at you all the time. So it's like the more organized you are, the more you can kind of bat that away and keep helping out the team as much as possible. So we're trying to get a lot more organized this year. I think that'd be my, if by the end of this year we're super organized, I'd be delighted.
Hard for the listeners to hold us accountable to that one, but
I think you will see it.
I was thinking more like launch a food menu, which is meant to be launching the day this podcast comes out at Melville Place. Opens at 8 a.m. maybe soon.
That's great.
Does it? When does it open at 8? That's
not this week.
Not this week, but that's...
I would, like, one way they would be able to measure whether or not we're organised is we'd have a heater right now to stop me shivering, because my literally fucking falling off.
That's true. So but cold. I think it's a sound quality issue, isn't it?
But yeah, so what about yourself? You're a food menu.
But yeah, I think going back to the Make Melville Great Again thing, I think we made some changes in the shop during COVID, which we've not kind of got back to. And you know, one of those is the times we're open. We're still open 8:30 to 4:30. We're heavily discussing changing that. But you know, when is the right time? How does it work with staffing? There's so many complications to that. But we do want to get closer to that kind of glory years of Melville, and you know, we talk quite heavily about Melville Place, the shop in the West End, is our reference of a lot in terms of our kind of shop output. But I think it's the one that we've got most control over improving now. I feel like Frederick Street is, you know, it's its own thing. It's like it's working, and there's not a huge amount that needs change there. I think Melville is a kind of a wide open book, and there's some decisions you can make which can really transform the business with that. So I think, you know, like improving food, bringing back a food menu, going heavy on that, I think is a big one. You know, we've talked quite heavily about our communication in terms of coffee. Like, you know, we happen to have some really, really special coffees on quite often, but do we communicate that well enough to customers? And I think we probably, and you know, I think strongly, you're the same, that we want to have the best cafe experience for people who love coffee in Edinburgh. Like that is a goal for us in 2023, and I think that's something we kind of need to come back to and see if we've achieved that. But yeah, there's a lot we can do, and there's a lot we're not doing currently, which can make that a reality. So that would be my goal, is to, you know, really, really ramp up the experience for customers. And I guess in turn, that the KPI for that is bad reviews. So here we go. But you've cut out the bad reviews now with this podcast. So.
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe another goal should be less long-winded goals. Am I right? Woo! That was a long goal.
That's a good answer, though.
I'm throwing in competition time. Leave a goal. Yeah. Leave a goal in the comments below that you think we should have this year. Whoever has the best one, they'll get a free coffee at Melville, Bonnie and Wild, or Frederick Street. So leave us a goal, and if we like it, we will adopt it, and you will get a free coffee.
A free coffee is, no one's going to do it for that. Well, maybe a box of coffee. Maybe a box of geisha. In any case, lovely to have you listening to this dirge of coffee jargon information. It's going to be out every Wednesday, so if you have liked it, then please do follow along in future weeks and make it worth their while. Like it, share it with your friends, do all that stuff.
Subscribe.
You should really be doing anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Subscribe to the... He's saying subscribe to
Subscribe.
Subscribe. It's the right. I thought you were pointing at your camera.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to him. No, subscribe to us.
Yeah, thank you all very much for listening, and looking forward to getting stuck into these during the rest of the year.
100%. You've been listening to Cairngorm Coffee. Is that the end?
That's the end.
That can't be the end.
I'm looking forward to seeing you turn 45 minutes into 10 minutes there.
10 minutes of
You're gonna cut nonsense.